Welcome to the Reify Online Learning Hub. In this tutorial, we'll teach you both how to set up a grid's default configuration and demonstrate the powerful features your grids will offer to end users. Very efficient. Grids can easily be configured via the same simple UI that's provided to end users to interact with grids. It's WYSIWYG. What you see is what you get. So let's get started. Double-click on the list grid component to add it to your edit pane. In the Bind Request dialog, select the order data source with a double-click. Reify's list grid has a comprehensive built-in configuration menu, allowing you to control which columns are visible, sorting rules, and many other grid capabilities. To access this menu, in our case, let's right-click on the customer column header, but you can access the configuration menu from any column header. Now, hover over the columns menu item, and a list of all fields for this grid will be displayed. Visible columns have a check mark next to the column name. Now, just click the Comments field. Notice how the check mark has disappeared and the grid has removed the Comments column? This step doesn't change the data of the underlying data source. It will only change what the user sees on the screen. In this way, you can show hidden columns or hide columns easily while retaining their availability for additional features. Now click on Sort Ascending to see your data sorted alphabetically by customer. An arrow to the right of the column title appears, indicating the direction of the sort. You can also add multi-level sorting, meaning sorting by one column, then by another. Right-click again on the customer column header, and from the menu, select Configure Sort. You can see that the customer order ascending has already been set in the Advanced Sort Editor. So we'll add a second sort level by clicking the Add Level button. The additional sort field can be selected from the column dropdown in the new editable row. But in this case, we want to sort by order number, so we'll leave this value selected. To set the sort order, click on the Order dropdown and select Descending, then click Apply. Notice how the two selected sort columns are identified with the sort arrow and a number 2 to indicate a secondary sort? You can have as many levels of sorting as you need. You can also easily clear a sort by just using the Clear Sort option from the configuration menu. Reify Grids also support grouping your data by any column. In our case, we're going to group orders by customer so that we can easily see all the orders that come from the same customer. Right-click on the customer column header again, and from the menu, select Group by Customer. And there you have it. See, the data has been grouped by customer with the first group in the list already opened. Simple. Remember, this feature is also available to the users of your application too, in any grid. So your users can organize data into any groupings they want on the fly. Now let's define some search criteria so that only a subset of the data is loaded by default. Again, right-click the Customer column header and select Show Filter Row, and our filter row appears above the column headers. This filter row allows a user to define criteria at any time to further filter the list or change the displayed data. Just imagine your salesperson is on the phone with a customer. They can just type in the order number the customer provides in the Order Number filter field, and the list will be filtered to just show that order's details. Adding criteria is really easy. To show you how easy it is, let's limit the default view to only show orders placed in the last year. Click on the date range icon in the Order Date filter field so we can add the date range that we want to filter the grid by. Reify's date range features allow you to set a static date range or dynamically calculate the start and end dates. In our example, we want the start date to always be 12 months before today's date, so let's set that up. Click the down arrow in the From field. There are a number of options relating to calculated dates included. In our case, as we want to have a start date that was a year ago, select N months ago from the dropdown. Notice the extra field here? This allows us to define what the value of N should be, and for this test, we want this to be 12 months ago, so we'll set this value to 12. Next, we need to set the To date to always be today's date, so click the down arrow in the To field to bring up the available date options, and simply select Today. Finally, just click OK to confirm the date range. Now, users of your application will be able to look at the filter row and see that the displayed orders are limited to the last 12 months. If your users need to view older orders, they can still do so by editing the criteria using the same UI we just used. However, by limiting the default view to just recent orders, you can avoid showing data that's probably not relevant. It makes your application faster too. There will be circumstances where you want criteria that the user can neither see nor change. We call this implicit criteria. As an example, perhaps there is a customer whose orders you want to hide from normal users. Maybe there's a dispute with this customer, so their orders require special handling. In our example, we will hide the customer Alpha Cognac, a customer whose orders would normally appear first in our grouped grid. Right-click in the customer column header and select Advanced Filtering from the menu. In the Advanced Filtering window, you will see that Customer has already been selected as the field to apply filtering to, but without a value yet. If you remember our business requirement, we want to hide any orders from customer Alpha Cognac. So let's do that by clicking the Operator Type dropdown and select the Not Equal Operator Type. Lastly, click in the Values column to define the customer we want to exclude from our list and select Alpha Cognac and click Save. We now have a set of criteria that will automatically ignore the customer Alpha Cognac when the grid loads data. Criteria can be as complex as you need and cover multiple columns, including Boolean conditions, such as customer starts with A and credit limit is greater than $50,000, so that you only ever show the records you really want the users to see. Click the Preview button so we can see how all of these changes have affected the grid. See how the list is grouped by customer, the comments column is hidden, with the sort order as customer ascending and order number descending. Reify automatically saves all of your changes to configuration like this, so you can define them once and Reify remembers. The only data showing is for orders created in the last 12 months, and customer Alpha Cognac is omitted from the list, just as we want it. Configuring grids in Reify is so easy. Using the grid's other built-in menu items, you can also freeze columns, set columns to auto-fit data, add highlights to conditionally colorize certain cells, add fields that compute a formula based on other fields, add fields that format or combine other fields into a summary. All of these features work just like the ones we showed in this tutorial. You just use the same grid configuration UI available to end users, and Reify saves everything automatically. And as a final tip, if you want to play with a grid but not change its default configuration, use Preview or the Run menu. Congratulations, you completed the tutorial. Reify is a new kind of low-code platform, one you can use on every project, not just for the simple ones. Reify is a radically faster, radically better way to work. Try Reify today for free.